Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today to talk about GitHub certifications. We're going to build automation. My name is Alfredo Deza. I work at Microsoft in developer relations. What does that mean? Well, we tend to explain, we tend to teach, create content like this one today, and try to make technology, well, easily understood. So hopefully today you learn how to apply some automation, learn some new techniques. My background is in automation. I love automation. It makes my life easier. The more automation that you build, the better things are. And we're going to explore some of the facts and things, the positive aspects of building automation in any of your projects. We are going to be using a little bit of Python, a Python project. The type of language or the type of application is irrelevant for what you're going to be learning today. So in this case, we're going to be very hands-on. I have some slides. I promise there are not that many. And at the end, I want to share with you a discount coupon for scheduling a certification. We're focusing on GitHub certifications today in this Learn Live series. And we're offering at the end of this stream, well, the opportunity for you to schedule your certification. You don't need to take it right away. You can schedule it in the future. I believe it's before the end of the year, this current calendar year, and we'll give you a discount code for one certification. I'll give you all the details at the end of at the tail end of this stream after we talk about automation. All right, so let me go with my slides here. So who am I? Well, I already gave my introduction to you. We're going to talk about automating your repository using GitHub Actions specifically. I'm going to play with several GitHub technologies, GitHub Codespaces, GitHub Copilot, GitHub Actions, and we're going to see how we can make all that work together. And today, Cynthia Zanoni is here with us, and she's going to be our moderator. She's going to help me answer any questions that you may have. So hopefully you get to say hi. And please, this is a live session, so try to make it interactive. Let me know where you're coming from. We'd love to hear where you're joining from. I was born in Peru. I'm right now in the US, so always like to visit other countries and say hi to other people. So that's good. So let me know in the comments. I'll try to pay attention, and of course, ask me any questions. At the very end, I'll leave some room to answer questions. So feel free to put them in the comments. All right. So today, we're going to be talking about automating your repository using GitHub Actions. And you can see the previous sessions by going to the Microsoft Reactor channel. This video is in the Microsoft Reactor channel on YouTube. And you will have all of these sort of sessions, these fast sessions like building the powerful readmes and creating a website using GitHub Copilot. All of those are available. There's this is the last session in this series, and we're very excited. All right, and one last thing that I have to show you here is, well, to continue your learning, like we're going to explore a little bit on specifically on the GitHub Actions, but the certifications cover many different aspects of the GitHub platform. You don't have to do something specific to GitHub. Like you can pair a lot of these things with your own projects and even cloud platforms like Azure. So here you have the path, the learning path for the GitHub Foundation certification. The learning path is free. You don't need to pay for anything. You can learn as much as you want, and then keep that learning to yourself. I think I was telling my one of my kids today. Learning is not a destination, it's a never-ending journey. So hopefully you take that to heart and you find this content useful today. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop presenting and I'm going to switch to my browser. And you're going to see me like looking over there, and that's because I have a monitor over here, and that's what I'm going to be looking at. And I'm going to be looking straight at you, looking at my monitor as I'm presenting. All right, so I'm going to take this away. And now we have this amazing repository that we're going to be using. Let me put full screen there. All right. So what do we have here? Well, we have a repository. It's a Python application. It seems to be an API. And you can see right here, it's called travel weather. Well, that sounds interesting. There's a couple of directories over there. We have a few files. It's very poorly documented, but that doesn't matter. And it doesn't have any automation. Let's poke around what we have here. But actually, before we start spelunking, start discovering what we have here in this project, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start. I told you that we're going to do use many different types of GitHub services. We're going to use one called code spaces. If you've never done that before, it's here with code. And I am going to create a new code space. And you have several options here. These look fine. I'm going to use something, sure, a core machine with, what was it? 64 gigabytes, no, 32 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes of disk space. Yeah. So what is a code space? It is a development environment in the cloud. Now, I think we were looking at, and this is Visual Studio Code, by the way. It's going to load on the browser with all my files. While this is loading, let me go back to where I was, which is the practical bootcamp travel weather. There we go. So sorry about that, because we didn't open in a new window. All right, so we're saying like we have a few files, right? Like let's wait until the code space finishes loading. There's a makefile. Usually makefiles are not something that you commonly see in Python applications, but some people really like it. I tend to like it, and there's certain things here. So when we talk about automation, we talk about certain things like this one. Do you see how there's this command? So why would you ever want to do this? Well, automation, which is the foundation of everything that we're going to be seeing today, allows you certain different things. Number one, if you have many steps involved, you are not going to you're not going to have those steps out of order. You're going to have consistency in how you run those steps. You're going to be able to remember all of those steps. You're not going to swap the order. The order is always going to be the same. And why is that? Because it's written in this case, well, this is just a single command, right? But what if you have 20 of these commands? Are you going to remember all the 20 commands to run them manually? Not a good strategy, especially if you're under a time crunch, or you have an angry manager that wants to have things done very fast and iterate over those very fast. Well, it's going to be more troublesome. And the other thing that it allows you to is to go very, very, very fast, because not only you're not going to get several of these commands out of order, and not only you're going to remember all of them, but the thing is that if it's on a script, it will just go sequentially. It will just go very, very, very fast. So those are some of the things that will happen when you're building automation. So it's pretty cool. It seems to me that this is loading, and no worries. I know it looks tiny, and I'll zoom in a second. It seems this wants me to sign in again with GitHub pull requests. I don't want to do anything with pull requests, so I'm just going to click that, cancel. If it bothers me again, I'll try to acknowledge that. All right, so we have this development environment. Again, I know it looks tiny, so I'm just going to go ahead and zoom in. Usually try to do 150. There we go. That should be pretty good. So several things have happened right now. And well, what's going on here? Well, before we build any automation, before we do absolutely anything, let's see what we're dealing with. Well, in here we have the code, the application. It seems that it's an API. It's an HTTP service that is running. You can see that it automatically got started. Things are running locally. And we also have, I'm going to close this one out. We also have this web interface. It's already running, and it has // countries. And then what this type of application gives us and this development environment gives us is that we can actually interactively try what's going on here. So say, for example, if we say a get, we want to call try it out. I'm going to close the file export so we can see a little bit better. I'm not going to pass in any parameters. I'm going to execute. I have here the command, the request URL, and there we go. It seems we're getting a lot of these ones right there. Where is this coming from? Well, this is coming from the API that is running locally. So it's /countries. So it seems to be that this one right here is coming from right here. And the reason I know that is because like that's coming from the data. If I were to return something different, then you know, if I want to mess this one up, we could do return, and we can say Mars. I'm just going to completely mess it up just on purpose, and then save that. I think I need to reload these, then get countries, try it out, execute, and here you go. So do you see that? Now I've messed it up. I mean, of course, this is not okay, so I'm just gonna hit it back. All right, so if as a software engineer, if I inherit a project like this one, I would try to play around with it a little bit, try to find out what we have, try to see kind of like the idea behind it. And kind of like what I'm thinking as well is it's kind of, I'm just trying to check if there are any questions. Kind of like what we're trying to do here is try to do a little bit of spelunking, finding out what are we working with? What are these files doing? Let's change a thing. Let's see if something happens. Oh yeah, something happened. And that's fine. But, you know, the difference between like a junior software engineer that's someone that is just starting is perhaps trying to fix something or make an improvement or a bug fix or make a change. But when you're thinking as a senior software engineer or even a higher level like principal, software engineer or architect or someone with more seniority, more experience, is that like the changes that can happen here are not as important as being able to have something that is robust and that you're going to be very happy with it. So for example, one of the things that I like to do is to enable linting. Linting is the process of making sure that whatever I'm writing here will be good, in this case, good Python, that I'm not messing anything up. Not necessarily something that will break, but it will be in accordance to certain styles and certain good best practices. So how do we do that? So the first step in automation is we need to find what is it that we need, and instead of doing it manually, well, apply it automatically. So let's do it manually first. Let's identify that linting. Let's try and see how we can put linting here to work for us and do it manually. And then, well, let's figure out how to do it automatically. All right. We're not going to do any more interactive API requests. I'm going to close the simple browser, and we're going to be playing around with the code. So I'm actually going to make it even slightly bigger. I'm going to get rid of the minimap. All right, so we have this thing here. Now let's open up the toggle the terminal. So I'm going to do toggle the terminal, and I'm going to have this running right here. I am going to create a new shell. All right, so in here, what I'm going to be doing is, you can see Python applications are pretty terrible with packaging. You can see here, this is a virtual environment. If you don't know what a virtual environment is, no problem. It's where we are going to install our dependencies. So if we say, for example, which Python is coming from the virtual environment, same thing with pip, which is the Python installer tool. And I don't think, let's take a look if Flake 8 is installed. All right, so it is installed. And what Flake 8 is, it's a linter. So if we do Flake 8 and dot, we will get some reports back. So what are those reports? What is this thing? So to me, like if I'm trying out this code and trying to find out what's going on here. Well, what's going on is that, well, we're getting the linter is barking at us. Like it doesn't like these codes. Like, hey, you have certain things that are not quite right. So we have line 20, line 39, expected 2 blank lines, no new line. So let's say, for example, we want to fix this one, which is expected 2 blank lines, right? Like this is on line number 20. So what's going on? Well, the thing is that right here, the linter doesn't, this is not an error, by the way. This is just like best practices and formatting and style. So it says, hey, you know, this would be better if it has 2 lines. So if I do that and save it, and then run this again, then we got rid of that. Do you see that? That E302 disappeared. Now it's something different here. So we're fixing that. Now, how does that sound? I think that sounds pretty terrible to be doing manually. Like I don't want to be doing this manually. But let's just assume that this is perfect. So imagine that I'm refactoring here and making some changes, and then I'm messing something up. Like I'm really breaking stuff out. And by the way, you can also enable the linting in Visual Studio Code. So if I say linting Python, let's do this Python lint. There we go. Run selection, linter. One of the things I'm going to show you a trick. Sometimes when I don't know how to enable an option, we can use GitHub Copilot. I have this enabled here, and I say there's this special, it kind of feels like magical powers. So do you see that at sign? Those things mean that these are agents, and there's a VS Code agent. Do you see that? Ask questions about VS Code. Yes. I want to enable linting for this Python project. I don't remember how. Let's do that. Let's go. So behind the scenes, it's talking to a language model, and he's telling us that we need to enable the. Yeah, very good. So show settings in editor, search for the Python extension. I don't think we need an extension, but show settings in editor. We're going to take a look at that. Python linting and user mode. Like that. And we can search Python. Python is installed. We can say placate. Placate linting support. There we go. We didn't have to install that. So I think this is a pretty good way of doing this. Linting. ESLint, placate. Look at that. We have that. So when set to a path to placate, sure. Extension will use that for linting. Use this option may slow down linting. Yeah, fine. So now let's take a look at these, and we have a few that are red. What's going on here? All right. Do you see how when I'm hovering, I'm getting these? This is the E305. Close the extension. E305 would be this one. Do you see that E305? If I'm hovering over this one, it will say expected 2 blank lines after a class or function definition found 1, and that is on line 40, which is correct. So how do we fix this? And the text editor is going to help us out here. I'm going to do that. I added the extra line and it went away. All right. But that's a really long-winded way of saying, hey, there's a lot of things here that we could do manually, but how do we automate? Alfredo, like this is good. We know about linting. How do we start building some automation? All right. So building automation. How I like to build up. Well, there's many different ways that you can do it. We're going to use GitHub Actions. Now, when you're adding GitHub Actions, let me go back here to these repository. So there's a couple of things. Do you see the actions button? This one right here is where your actions will be. Like actions are automated tasks, automated things that you want to do for your repository, for your code that will happen given certain triggers, certain things that whenever they line up, it could be time-based, it could be action-based. So say, for example, if you pushed to a branch or something like that, it will trigger. So if I go here to actions, and you can do this for any GitHub repository that you may find, you'll get greeted with this thing that says, hey, get started with GitHub Actions. Let's assume for a second that we're completely lost. We're like, I have no idea. I literally have no idea. I have a Python project. What am I going to do? Well, we can say, we can look, right? So we can say, how about Python? And we search for Python, and then these things called workflows will show up. What are workflows? This is kind of like the recipe for your automation. We're going to be doing certain steps, following in a certain order, given a certain thing that has to happen, a trigger, and we're going to execute based on that. And that is going to make something happen. So 40 workflows. Okay, so that's a lot. How about we simplify and we say lint? Look at that. We have 2 workflows. So whenever you find something like this, then let's say, for example, we select this one, which is PyLint. PyLint is kind of like similar to Flake8. The differences don't matter for what we're trying to accomplish, which is building automation. So let's go ahead and build some automation. So I'm going to click on configure. And so far, I haven't done anything other than search for something and apply it. And now this thing is here. I told you before, this is kind of like a recipe. Well, it's based on YAML. YAML is a markup language, and it allows us to describe and configure certain things, and that's how GitHub Actions does its thing. So in here, we will have, there's a specific syntax. What I like about this approach is that you don't need to be an expert at understanding what the specific syntax and order of things is. You can get started with these and start tweaking and changing things on the fly. So I think that is a pretty nice way. So I said I liked Flake8, right? And not PyLint. So in this case, it's called PyLint. We can start actually making changes here. So the reason why you might want to do this is because it allows you to get a head start. Like, hey, I have no idea. Where do I put this file? Do I put it in this, under this directory? Does it have a special path? And in this case, it does. This is the root of the repository. That GitHub is a directory that needs to exist. And then a subdirectory called workflows. And in there, you need to put the workflow file. So we're going to do a couple of approaches. First, we're going to do this one, which is on the repository itself. And then we're going to do it on the code space using the help of GitHub Copilot, because we're going to try to add to it and do more advanced things. So we're going to tweak this. All right, we're going to tweak this. We're not going to use PyLint. We're going to call it Flake8. All right, so I made that's going to be the name of the file. I haven't added anything. The name right here on line one is what represents this workflow. When this workflow runs and when the automation kicks in, then you will see that that name. So it's a way of identifying what's running. All right. When you see the line number 3 that says on push, well, it means that every time I push, this action will get triggered, and this will will be represented within the GitHub repository. All right, so we're gonna let's walk through some of the things that we're seeing here. Jobs, the one here is called build, and a build is basically a job. It's a collection of certain things that are going to happen, and these are going to be running on Ubuntu latest. That is the operating system that we're gonna be doing or using for this automation. We have a strategy. And that's a matrix in the Python version. So what does this mean? It's going to run for Python 3.8, 3.9, and 3.10. That gives you the possibility of making sure that whenever this automation is going to run, it's going to run for all of these 3 Python versions. This is a good thing because whenever you want to make sure that things are actually done in a way where you can verify multiple things at the same time without having to write this whole bit of instructions 3 times. All right, so let's take a look. It sets up Python. In this case, it's going to make sure that Python is installed, and it's going to install the dependencies. Now, remember, I want Flake 8, so I'm going to say pip install Flake 8, and then instead of pylint git ls files, we can do Flake 8, and I think this will work. And analyze the code with pylint is going to be Flake 8. When you see anything with a name right here, what's going to happen there is that you are going to see that in the log output. So this is going to run, and when you check the log output, when this thing is running, you will see these names being executed. So it's important to have something meaningful that you understand exactly what it is so that it represents exactly what's happening here. I am not entirely sure if these git ls files star.py will work, but we'll see. And now we're ready to commit those changes and publish them. So I'm going to click on commit, create Flake 8, and then I'm doing this all on the website, on the GitHub platform website. I'm not doing it in my code space or my code editor, although I could. But again, it simplifies things. So you can see commit directly to the main branch. I'm going to do that. And when I do this, if I go to actions, I'm going to click this. You see that now I have something that is running, and it is actually executing. So let's very quickly take a look at that. We have a matrix build. I'm going to click on this, and we can see 1 out of 2, 2 jobs completed. Oh, they're all failing. Let's see what's going on. Remember where I was telling you that the name is actually going to it's going to be important. This is that portion of the name. Set up Python 3.8, install dependencies, and analyzing the code with Flake 8. So let's take a look. The reason it's failing is because it was failing to begin with, right? So we had all of these problems locally. Remember when we were in Visual Studio Code, I just switched the tab over to Visual Studio Code. All of these things are right here. And these are all of these things are reporting that there's a problem. So what we need to do here is, well, we need to fix these. And whenever we're pushing, we're going to see that there's certain things that are going to be done. So we see that the build 3.10 had some problems, and the operation was canceled. It seems like there was also problems with 3.10. So if we go to the summary, we can see that this matrix build had 3 jobs completed, and all of these 3 jobs, well, they were not very good. So what are we going to do? Let's go and fix it, right? That's automation. We're going to start making these changes, and we're going to start fixing that. So that's going to be our first automation that we're going to build, and then we're going to try to take it like at a next level and see if we can make some changes. So let's go back to where we were on code spaces right here. And what we're going to do right here is we are going to, let's just go ahead and fix all of these. So we know we have this one. Let's see, no new line at the end of file. Sure, let's fix that one. That will get rid of that one. What else do we have? Line 15. So let's just scroll all the way to the top. We did fix that line 15. We have on test underscore main.py. So let's open that one very quickly. We have this other file here that will allow us to see what's going on. And it seems that this is not very happy. It says line 15, that will be this one. All right, so we have one right here. It says line too long. Perfect. Do you guys know how to break a line that might be too long and do it in Python? Well, we can do this. Look at that. We can go that, open up a new line right there, and open up a new line right here, and move that over there, and save that, and still complain. Training white space. Sure. I'm gonna remove that one. Oops, I removed too many, too many characters, and this is going to complain probably that it doesn't have a new line. All right, so I think this looks good. So we could do flake8 again, and now it doesn't report anything. All right, so let's save that one. Let's save this one. Let's now go to our source control, and we're going to add this one and add this one also. And I'll show you a feature that I really like about GitHub Copilot, which allows me to, sometimes entering the commit of exactly what is it that I'm committing and like what are some of the changes. I don't really like it. So I'm going to click on this button that will generate the commit message with Copilot. So I'm going to click on that one. And look at that, remove, and you see, well, that's not exactly true. But I did add this, I'm not refactoring. Copilot, I am fixing the linting. So we're gonna commit, and I know, I don't want to do this. I wanna commit, so that's committed, and now I think I can push. Would you like to stage? I want to push here, push. Now I think it's going to, yeah, so because I made changes, so this is a classic Git problem that you may face whenever you're making changes or someone else is making changes to your branch and you're making changes locally, then you need to kind of like correlate what's going on there. So what I'm gonna do here is I am going to, let's see, git status, and I'm going to git checkout to check out that well-known. So that means that, hey, just forget about this change. I don't care about that change. And I'm gonna do is git pull, and I'm gonna say rebase, so that this is getting very annoying. How about I just sign up and be done with this? All right. Okay, it doesn't matter. All right, so I pulled, my changes are there. And do you remember what the changes were? The changes were specifically the ones where I added the GitHub action, right? So if I go here, you will see that now I got GitHub workflows and flake8. So now you can see it right there. No, I don't want that. All right. So source control again. I'm gonna go here, push, and I want to fetch periodically. All right. So it seems that that's now all the way in. I'm going to go back to the repository. If I go to travel weather and I go click on actions, you will see I am fixing the linting. Okay, great. Will this pass? What do you think? If I click here, let's take a look. Oh, 3 jobs completed, all green checks. We have automation. Now, this first pass at what we just had looks kind of okay. I think I kind of like it. It tells me that my code is doing kind of okay. What are the things we can build? Well, anything that you are doing manually, anything that you have to repeatedly do, either when you're developing or when you're trying to review, like in this case, when we're trying to do the linting, when we're pushing the code over to GitHub, then that's a great candidate for automation. So let's go back to our development environment right here, and we don't want to look at source control. We want to look at the files. Let's close the terminal right here, and what we're going to be doing right here is take a look at what else do we have. So we have the make file. The make file. Nope, we don't want to install makefile tools. This is run, help, that looks correct, but we have some tests. So this sounds pretty interesting. How about we have something that runs automatically tests. So it seems that this is using PyTest. Let's take a look at the requirements. PyTest is the tool that I would use, and I would recommend if you're using Python and you want to run some tests. So again, what I'm going to do, first step in building automation is like, let's take that task that we want to do and run it locally and try to run it manually so that we can figure out how to build the automation later. Like we did that with Flake8 and the linking, right? We did it manually, we did it on the terminal. Then we jumped on the text editor and we figured out how to enable it, and we were able to do that nicely. So all right, so let's toggle the terminal. Yes, so I'm gonna go here, click on toggle the terminal. I'm going to clear these and I'm going to make it a slightly bigger. Let's see if PyTest, the tool, the test runner is installed. So I'm going to do which PyTest. It is installed. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say PyTest and then just run it. And inside, look at that. We have a couple tests. Looks good. Sounds like we haven't. This is not broken. The expectations are still true. Let's take a quick look at the test so that we can see what is going on right here. So client, get countries. Do you remember all of the things that we had? Let's take a look at main.py. So we have root, we have countries. Ooh, we have countries, city, and month. How about we test one of these countries? So the countries that we were getting, is Portugal, Spain. How about we do one for Spain? Dev test, and we're going to be using a little bit of GitHub Copilot to help us out. The GitHub Copilot, by the way, is this tiny little logo here. Whenever I'm typing, it will start spinning because it's thinking, it's going to the cloud and finding what can it suggest me so that it can bring me awesome suggestions. I can ignore them, but let's try this again. Not monthly average. Let's test Spain. How about in June? I'm going to be super specific. I mean, you might not want to be super as specific as this. So I think this kind of looks correct. I'm going to accept it. I clicked tab. I'm gonna save that. I think this might be kind of off. I'm gonna run PyTest, and of course, Madrid is not there. So how I'm gonna verify this? I believe there's a weather.json file. Let's take a look at some of the data that we have. We have London, France, Germany, Peru, Portugal. Portugal has many cities. Italy, Spain, Seville. Oh, it only has Seville. Okay, sure. So let's just try Seville. And we're going to say, instead of Madrid, which is the capital, we're going to say Seville. Seville in June might probably be super hot. So let's take a look at what will happen. Great. So the average high, this is a good thing about PyTest. It will tell you that we have things that are quite different. So left contains, what's the left? The left is this one, and this is the right one. So precipitation it doesn't exist. Like if I show you weather.json, you only have high and low. So let's fix those. So precipitation doesn't exist, right? That's one. And then average high doesn't exist either. So it's high and low. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to save that. I'm going to add a new line so it doesn't complain. There we go. And I'm going to run the test again, PyTest, and high 33. So it doesn't like do you see that? This 19.0, it doesn't like it because what it's expecting here, I'm going to remove that and make it slightly bigger. And the reason we're focusing right now on the test is so that we can verify these later, okay? So we have 33.0, 19.0, that's these ones right here. But the response.json is giving us 93 and 63, so it doesn't like the 0. It's fine. We're going to leave it like that on purpose so that we can see something failing, which, by the way, is also a good strategy when you're building automation. So so right now we're in a different situation. We could also go back here to repository, go to actions, And I think there's a way, if I click on new workflow, there we go. I can say Python PyTest. No, why not PyTest? No workflow. So you might find yourself in a situation like, well, Alfredo said that I could search things here and they would appear and I could take it from there. Well, not for every single little thing. So what can we do? Well, let's go here. And we are going to be using, we know we can use PyTest, we know we can run and it will fail. But I have a new requirement. I want to do things for a pull request and check them there, check those failures there, and not necessarily for a push to main. You should not be pushing to the main branch regardless. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to open up the chat. I'm going to create a new chat. I'm going to say, I want to create a workflow file so that PyTest can run some tests for this project on every pull request. Help me produce a workflow file that will run PyTest. All right, so let's see what Copilot gives us, and it explains what everything that we need to do, and what we're going to do. Say Python app.yaml, sounds kind of generic. Let's see, create a new directory in workflows if it doesn't exist. Sure. So let's create this Python. I don't like Python app. I'm going to call it PyTest.yaml because remember, you have to. It's useful to have the ability to recognize later, like a month later, I come and something says Python app. I have no idea what that thing is doing. Python app. What does that mean? Are you doing something? Are you deploying? You're building? You're running tests? You're linting? We don't know. It says Python app. So, but if it says PyTest, it's like, that's the testing CLI. Maybe I should testing CLI and testing framework. So let's take a look at what's going on there. All right. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go to workflows, right? And inside of workflows, I am going to create a file, and I'm going to call it PyTest.yaml, right? And then I'm going to go to my chat, and I'm going to, here with the chat, you have a couple of things. You can either copy these to the clipboard and paste it, or you can use, I think it's this one to insert at the cursor, which is the one that I'm going to be using right now. So whatever you get generated from GitHub Copilot, remember GitHub Copilot is your co-pilot, not the pilot. It's not driving. I'm driving. I know what I want. GitHub Copilot might understand kind of like where I'm going, but not nail it perfectly exactly what I want. So the name, remember I tend to like descriptive names. Python application, not so descriptive. So let's do PyTest testing and pull request. All right, so now we're getting into specifics. Remember I said, hey, I want these to run on pull requests whenever there's a pull request to the main branch. If I want these to other branches, then I would just need to take that out. And then let's take a look at some of the other steps. It's going to run on Ubuntu. It's going to check out the code. It's going to set up Python. The Python version is going to be 3x, meaning it will just grab the latest Python version. That's what that 3x means. Install the dependencies. I think this one is not going to be necessary because requirements that text already has set. I'm going to remove it and then run the test PyTest. I tend to like PyTest when it runs on verbose mode. So I'm going to add those -bv and I'm going to save it. I'm going to go now. We're going to go a little bit fast because we're running out of time. I'm going to, let's see if Copilot can generate a nice one here. Update OpenAI API. It's version 2.3.1.0 and fixed test for Spain June weather. Sure. And we're going to commit and actually I need to add the files. I forgot about that. Sorry. So let's do that very quickly and let's do commit and push. And this GitHub pull request is really annoying, but we're going to cancel. All right. So that's pushing. Let's go to travel weather again. Let's click on actions. Oops. And now it's running. Ooh, update OpenAPI version to 3.1.0. It's running. Well, it's running the. This is. Do you see all of the actions that are running? This is Flake, but the other one is not running. And do you know why it's not running? Well, it's not running because I didn't create a branch and I didn't create a pull request. So let's very quickly do that. And I'm going to create a new branch. And I'm going to say, yeah, create a branch. A branch name is Alfredo Test. And this is so annoying. Why is it asking me for all these things? Anyway, all right, I'm in Alfredo Test right now, different branch. This will allow me to make some changes. So let's make an extra change here. Add this change. Update PyTest command to include an extra verbose flag. I'm going to commit and push. And I'm going to say yes, allow. This is unfortunate. All right, so I think that pushed. So let's take a look at travel weather. Let's see if our branch is there. It's not there yet. Let's go to here. Let's see if it pushed. Let's go source control. Would you like to stage cancel? All right. So I don't know why this. Do you see right here at the very bottom? It says Alfredo Test. Let's take a look at toggle the terminal. Let's say cancel. It's fine. I don't want to do that. Let's do git push. Git push, that's you origin. I'm just following the instructions of what the output is. So that is going to the Alfredo Test branch. Very good. Now, if I go here, if I go to travel weather again, now I see my branch. All right, we're running out of time, so I'm trying to go super fast here. Alfredo Test has recent pushes 7 seconds. Yes, I want to compare and pull requests. Oh my goodness. Almost there, almost there. I need to sign in into so many different things. Great, Alfredo Test. How about, yeah, summary, generate a summary for what I'm trying to do here. Let's see what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm adding certain things. That looks fine. And I'm gonna create a pull request to the main branch. And now what's happening? Look at this. Something's happening. Look, checking for the ability to merge automatically. Let's see what. Let's wait a second. Let's wait a second here and see what is. Oh, not to the main branch. Oh my goodness! This went to the wrong. This went to the wrong. Well, this is the repository we want. All right. Okay. Yes, I sent the pull request to Microsoft, so hopefully they don't get upset on me. This is because I was trying to go so fast. All right, 3 checks have passed. Flake8, and let's take a look at the checks. So whenever you're doing these, do you see that test is running? That's still going on. So if I go to conversation, some checks haven't completed yet. So if I do this, you'll see the PyTest testing is there. And it fails. And this is a good thing. This is the basis for automation. This is when we are getting into trouble. This is when we need to come in and say, oh, what is going on here? Let's click on this arrow, run the test. Ooh, look at that. We're adding a 0. PyTest is really good at telling us exactly what we need to fix. So let's go back here. Let's once and for all fix this silly mistake of the .0 here and the .0 there. And we're going to add that and sure generate something there and commit and push. Hopefully it doesn't complain about it. And when we come here to travel weather and the pull request, you will see now that there's a dot. That's because I just pushed and it re-triggers the automation. So it will say cannot be loaded right now. We can reload that. There we go. So Flake8 is running. Flake8 passed on the 3 successful checks. PyTest testing is still failing. Let's take a look what's going on. And you know why? Because this is actually going to be kind of tricky to see. I'll tell you why. When you go to the weather adjacent, it can be that, where are my tests? This is the way we're gonna do it, and I think this should work. The thing is that the order of where we have things are not correct. So we have 93. So there we go, 93 and 63, not 19 and 33. Do you see that? So let's do 93 for the high and 63 for the low. So we're gonna go here. This is 93 and what's it, 63? Let's take a look. 93 and 63. All right, let's fix this again. And I think this should finally get us to passing. How about yes? Let's go back to our pull request. Our dot is here indicating that things are staged. Do you see those red ones are because we have things that haven't passed in the previous commits. I'm gonna reload. There we go. Flake8 is running. PyTest is running. Let's take a look at what's going on. Check out the code. Come on, PyTest, we can do this. We can get into finally getting things passing. It's making sure, like, again, this is why it's important to have all these steps. Now, perhaps if you're working solo, this might not feel that useful, but if you're collaborating, then others can say like, hey, I don't need to run the test. Like Alfredo committed certain things, he pushed, and things are breaking. That's not good. This Alfredo person is not very good, and he's not doing well. All right, so while that is running, let me take a look at some of your questions, because we are running at out of time. Can you share the URL? So yeah, so Cynthia already shared. You can actually, so let me show you a couple of things. You can go to github.com, Microsoft, and then go to travel-weather. So this would be the kind of like the main repository for trying this out, and you can fork it. I'll leave that there. There we go. Let's see if we have other questions. I see a lot of people joining from everywhere. Like we have people from Brazil, San Diego, Nigeria. That sounds amazing. And yes, you can watch this stream later. I don't know why this is taking like forever. Perhaps GitHub doesn't like me and it's taking a long time. But we know that it's working. So Berlin, there's a lot of people from everywhere. So great. So if you don't have any questions, oh, there we go. How does anyone know if certifications we're going to obtain? Well, certifications you can you will receive something that allows you to have that digital certificate, and you will be able to share that out. All right, so let's just assume that these will eventually load and pass. That's how you build automation with GitHub Actions. We learn how to put some things on GitHub Actions. We learn how to deal with certain errors. We identify things that were not quite working. We fix them. First we did it manually. We did the linting manually. Then we did the testing manually, and we were able to implement that automation using GitHub Actions. First, we used GitHub Actions by searching for workflows, and we found one for Python that we had to change and do with Flake8. And then we did the testing with PyTest. We did it. We identified the test. We found out how to run those manually. Then we built the automation, and this time we used GitHub Copilot to help us out. What GitHub Copilot did was not 100% what I wanted, so I had to tweak a little bit. All right, so now let's go, and time for the vouchers. So if you're here and you like what you saw and you think you're enticed for, let me get these out of out of full screen. There we go. And then I'm gonna put this right here, and then I'm going to say %. All right, so you're here for the certification. This is the next slide. Let me get you the next slide. It's this one. All right, so this is a single-use discount voucher code. It will allow you to get a discounted price for the GitHub certification. It's valid only for scheduling one test. So don't try to use it for all the tests. I mean, that would be awesome, but no, it doesn't work. It's just for one of the certification. It's only it's one voucher per person. And this will be valid until tomorrow, October 23rd. So that's I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for being here. Hopefully you're able to schedule your test, your exam, your certification, take it before the end of the year. Hopefully what you saw today, the building automation using GitHub Actions, GitHub Code Spaces, and GitHub Copilot is good enough for you, and it's interesting to use so that you can actually get these things going. I'll check one last time the comments. All right, so yeah, thank you so much. Thank you to all who have joined. I know people from Europe, like this must be super late for you. Thank you so much. People from the West Coast, well, it's not that late for you. Brazil, Nigeria, thank you. Thank you so much all. Hopefully this was useful.